What's up everyone? John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here with a full review of Verizon's Galaxy S offering the Samsung Fascinate. Let's go ahead and get started. The name Galaxy S is starting to become synonymous with Android phones. It is a branding technique that is being seen across all major carriers in the US, and this is Verizon's version of it, the Samsung Fascinate. So before we jump into the review, let's go ahead and recap some of the specs and see what your about $200 on contract is going to get you. First, it's going to get you a 4-inch Super AMOLED touchscreen with a resolution of 480 by 800. What Super AMOLED means is you're going to get very darker darks, you're going to get brighter colors, you're going to get better visibility in sunlight. Essentially what it does is it takes the touchscreen mechanism on the phone and puts it actually into the glass as opposed to putting it right on top, which is going to give you a little bit better visibility overall. It features a 5-megapixel autofocus camera with flash. It's capable of shooting HD video at 720p. It's also one of the fastest smartphones around, featuring Samsung's 1 GHz Cortex-A8 Hummingbird processor, which shares a lot of architecture with Apple's A4 chip, same thing that's in the iPhone 4 and the iPad. It is running Android 2.1, commonly called Eclair, with Samsung's custom skin on it, which you see right now, called TouchWiz. Samsung has said that it will be upgraded to 2.2 Froyo in the near future. It's going to come with 2 GB of internal memory and a 16 gig micro SD card installed. It's also compatible with Verizon's 3G mobile hotspot, essentially going to turn your phone into a MiFi device. So it'll suck in Verizon's eVideo network and kick out Wi-Fi you can connect to up to 5 devices. So now that we've recapped the specs, let's talk about the phone itself. No matter how good a phone is or how many features it has or what touchscreen technology it uses, it doesn't make good phone call, it's not going to be much use to you. And typical to most Verizon phones that I've reviewed, call quality on the Fascinate is really fantastic. I had no white noise on my end, callers had no white noise on their end, there wasn't any popping. I experienced 0 drop calls while using this as my daily phone, and it really just worked very nicely. It almost sounds like landline quality. Something to keep in mind, this is a fantastic device. It actually was able to pull in a relatively strong signal, where I usually maybe got 1 or 2 bars of Verizon eVideo signal. Generally it's pulled in a little bit more where I am right now. Sometimes I don't get any Verizon signal and I'm getting 2 bars as we speak. Let's talk about battery life, since that's one of the negatives of the phone, and there aren't many negatives. Battery life is not the greatest. You really need to do some decent battery and memory management with your phone in order to get through a full day. I'm a pretty heavy phone user. I use the browser quite a bit. I'm making a lot of phone calls and I'm using email a lot. And I had a hard time getting through a full day. I had to always find a charger to plug it in. One of the nice things about the Galaxy S though is it does feature a removable 1500 milliamp hour battery. So if you're a power user, you can always pick up another battery if you need and have it fully juiced and ready to go. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about TouchWiz interface. I'm sure you're probably familiar with Android and what it looks like. This is a bit different. This puts 4 rows of icons on the bottom, which are customizable, and sort of keeps them on each screen. You go ahead and view and see each screen here, and you do have actually 7 home screens. You can choose to have more or less, but 7 are really what Samsung gives you. I'm not the biggest fan of TouchWiz. It does have some nice enhancements. One of the nicest enhancements that it has is right on top. You get controls for your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and airplane mode. And when you're in a phone call, you actually get the speaker buttons right there, end a call, so you don't have to actually jump into the phone menu to do that. You can just slide down the notification tab and you get all your information right there. Oh, it really is a handy feature. TouchWiz also features when you're in your contacts, you slide your finger to the right to make a phone call and slide it to the left to send text. There are some nice enhancements there. Applications look a little bit different. They're sort of encapsulated in these squares. You can go ahead and scroll through whatever you'd like. And when you download apps from the marketplace, they still show up in these squares. You can customize these pages any way that you like. The Fascinate does feature 4 capacitive buttons across the bottom. And I'm not the biggest fan of capacitive buttons. Oftentimes I had to sort of tap them twice to make sure it worked, sort of once to light it up and once to register the touch. That's a little bit of a small detriment to the Galaxy S series of devices, but certainly not a huge negative. Running this Hummingbird processor, this phone is blazing fast. Probably one of the fastest phones that I have ever tested. Really just works quite well. And speaking of speed, let's go and take a look at the browser, because the browser is really fast on this device. And as you can see right there, there's a big Flash logo. Unfortunately, this does not yet support Flash 10.1. That will supposedly come with the upgrade to 2.2. That's Android 2.2 Froyo, which will support Flash. It does have a fantastic multi-touch browser, though, which is really capable of great pinch to zoom. And I think this is really where you see the processor speed. A lot of times with multi-touch devices, particularly Android, if the phone is underpowered, you're going to see a little bit of delay when you use your multi-touch gestures. Here it is almost instantaneous and just works very well. You can see probably that the screen's got a bit of a tint to it. That is one of the, I think, downsides of the Super AMOLED display. It's got a bit of a blue tint to it, which is going to give you better visibility in direct sunlight. For some people, it might be a positive. For me, it sort of hinders the experience of using this gorgeous screen, but not nearly enough that would hinder it that I wouldn't want to use the device. Just something to keep in mind. It's going to make the pictures and the text look a bit warmer, I suppose. Let's go ahead and jump back here. One other thing to notice about the Samsung Fascinate is the back of it. Features a plastic back, which I found to actually come loose every now and then. If I actually snap it back into place, perhaps that's a problem with my review unit. You can see right there, there's a little speaker. The speakerphone volume is not incredibly loud. I've certainly tested many phones with better speakerphone volume. So if you rely on speakerphone when you're in a car, you might want to invest in a Bluetooth headset. It's usable when you're in a quiet environment, but if you have ambient noise around, it's going to be a bit more difficult to use. The phone is very, very, very thin and very easily pocketable. I think this 4-inch screen may actually be the perfect size. It doesn't create too much bulge in your pocket, or if you put it in your purse, it's not going to take up too much room. Really just worked very well. Overall, I'm extremely thrilled with the Samsung Fascinate, and definitely representative of my view on the Galaxy S series of devices as a whole. If you don't like the way this phone looks with TouchWiz, with Android being open, you can customize it to your heart's content and really make it look and feel your own, which is one of the really big selling points of Android. I've been a big fan of the phone. I enjoy the phone. I'm actually using the phone as my daily driver, and I can recommend it wholeheartedly. So on a 1 to 5 scale, I give this phone a very, very, very solid 4.75, almost 5, just due to some build quality issues. If that was fixed, this phone would be a very solid 5, and I can completely recommend this with 2 enthusiastic thumbs up. If you're a Verizon user in the market for an Android phone, you definitely owe it yourself to take a look at the Samsung Fascinate. I'm John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo. Be sure to check us out for all your tech news. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.